They don't want us to notice the lines. Hi friends, welcome back. I'm Lisa Brooks, and I want to start this day of musing by asking you a question. When you go to vote, when you stand in that voting booth, do you feel like your voice actually counts? Do you believe that your vote has the power to change things? Because if you don't, you're not really imagining things. There is a reason it feels like the system doesn't listen anymore. All of it starts with a trick that most people never even see coming. Some people have never heard of it. It's called gerrymandering, and it's actually one of the most dangerous threats to our democracy. It's rarely in the news. Maybe it gets talked about for a few seconds when a group challenges this process in court. But let's talk about gerrymandering. I guess it's a word that sounds like something that comes right out of a spelling bee, but this is what it really means. It's when politicians draw voting maps in a way that benefits themselves at your expense. Every 10 years after the census, states are supposed to redraw voting districts so that they represent population changes. But in too many places, including right here in my home state of Tennessee, those lines are not drawn for fairness, they're drawn for control. And they split up communities, they dilute voices, and they rig the outcome before a single vote is even cast. And that's not just theory. Let me show you what that looks like in real life. You can take Nashville, Tennessee as just one example. For decades, the people of Nashville had one member of Congress who actually came from the city, who knew the neighborhoods, who listened to the people, and who fought for his community. But after the 2020 census, the Tennessee state legislature took a knife to that map and actually cracked it or cut it into 3 separate congressional districts. They just sliced it up like a 3-piece pie. Then they lumped each of those pieces in with faraway counties, places that don't share the same needs or priorities as a city like Nashville, Tennessee. And now, a city of over 700,000 people, rich in culture, music, small business, diversity, and growth, has no congressional representative who actually lives in the city. That's not democracy. That is a power grab. And it's happening in cities all over our country. So you might be thinking, I don't really follow politics that much, and that is okay, but I want to tell you why it really does matter. Even if you've never watched a debate or read a single ballot measure, it matters because when your district is rigged, your vote doesn't matter in the way that it should. The scoreboard is actually already fixed, and no matter how hard you or the rest of your community works, the outcome is already decided, and that is breaking our democracy, folks. When politicians draw voting districts in a way that guarantees that their party wins, when they do that, they don't just lock in power, they lock us, the voters, out. So here's what happens when a district is drawn to be safely red or safely blue. The real election doesn't happen in November, it happens in the primary, and that means that candidates don't have to win over the middle at all. They just have to win over the loudest voices in their own party. So who are the people that rise to the top? They're not the bridge builders, but they're actually the fire starters. That's who wins in a rigged map, not the problem solvers, not the consensus builders, but the ones who shout the loudest and push the hardest to the edge and to the extremes. And so what do we get? A government full of extremes where no one wants to compromise, where gridlock becomes the norm. And the American people get stuck paying the price. The winners are the politicians who never have to answer to voters. They don't need to listen. They don't need to compromise. They don't even need to tell the truth because their job is already safe. That's how you get gridlock. That's how you get extremism. That's how you get leaders who stop working for you. I'm actually trained as a lawyer, so I try not to make arguments without evidence. So here's that evidence. In states that use independent redistricting commissions instead of partisan lawmakers, places like Michigan, Colorado, California, voters do get fairer maps. They get real choices on their ballots, and they get leaders who actually campaign, listen, and serve. And most of all, they get a system they can trust. That's what we all need, right here in Middle Tennessee and all across our great country. It's not a matter of left versus right. It's a matter of right versus wrong. Because democracy does not work when politicians choose their voters. It only works when voters choose their political representatives. Start paying attention to the lines. Support independent map making. Support acts like the Freedom to Vote Act. And if someone tells you that's just how the game is played, then look them in the eye and say, this is not a game. When our voices are being silenced, gerrymandering doesn't just tilt elections. It warps incentives, it punishes moderation, and it silences the majority. So we need to stop letting politicians choose their voters instead of voters choosing their political representatives. This is our democracy. We have every right to take it back. If we want a government that actually represents us, then we have to demand fair maps. We need competitive districts. I'm asking you to stand up with me and demand what is right. So, muse on that for a while and then stand with me. It's only fair, it's only right, it's only just. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. My name is Lisa Brooks, coming to you right from Middle Tennessee, and I hope you'll join me again in the not-so-distant future. Have a fabulous rest of the day. Bye-bye.